Today we talk Tigres versus León, a mini Tigres Liga MX preview, and El Chino Zelarayan. This is El Tigrillo Show. Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of El Tigrillo Show. I am your humble host, Juan El Tigrillo. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming game between Tigres and León. I'm not really too familiar on what León has done this offseason, but what I can tell you is they haven't dropped any big names this offseason onto their roster. They have not looked that impressive. Honestly, Lea Hernandez left, which was probably one of the better players. So, I mean, León had a lot to rebuild on from last season. They ended up in 13th place with 22 points. They won 6 games, they drew 4, and they lost 7. So, who knows? It should be an interesting game. But what I can tell you is Tigres, compared to the past couple friendlies they've had, and Campeones they're firing on all cylinders. I'm very optimistic about this season. So I have them beating León. I would say a good 3-1, especially if they continue with the same formation they used against Santos last week. So I think they'll end up beating León 3-1, and we'll go down the calendar. I mean, following the next game would be the Copa MX game is against Atlético San Luis on Tuesday. They'll probably be sending the youth squad on the bench for that one. Those Copa MX games are always up in the air. You could be much better on paper than the other team, and still you might not come home with the 3 points. So I haven't done too much homework on the Atletico team. My guess would be it might be a 1-1, perhaps. Especially I believe they're playing in San Luis. So maybe we'll win it by 1 goal, maybe, or come home with the draw. Who knows? After that, next week we'll have on the 29th, Sunday 29th, we'll have Club Tijuana. I guess they changed their playing days from Fridays to Sundays. So it'll be Atletico will be visiting to Tigres. A little bit off topic, but Tigres will be visiting Tijuana, playing in the middle of the day. It's hot up there. They play on the artificial turf. Tijuana also, from I can recollect, didn't make any huge signings. I know they got a couple players, but nothing huge. No big names. But that'll be on the 29th of July. Tijuana last season ended up on They ended up respectable 6th position. They won 6 games. They drew 6 games. They lost 7 games. They accumulated 25 total points. So, I mean, that game will be a little bit, I feel Tigres will struggle a little bit, especially on that artificial turf. It always gives Tijuana the advantage. But I think we'll come back with the draw, a respectful draw, 1-1. After that, we'll have Cruz Azul at home. What's to say about Cruz Azul, right? They start off strong, and they'll be within the first 3 games. They usually start off strong every season, so they'll be within the first 3 games of the season. So I think Cruz Azul will put up a good fight. They ended up in 12th place last season with a total of 22 points, 4 wins, 5 draws, 7 losses. Also, depending on how Tigres will do. And that one, I think, it's going to be at home, so I think it's going to be our first home game. That'll be our first home game for the season, so I think we'll have enough to beat them, narrowly beat them, and after that, we'll have After that, we're gonna have Cafetaleros in Copa MX. Don't know much about the team. Up in the air. Have no idea what type of team Tuca's gonna line up. So I'm not really gonna give too much. I'm guessing we'll beat Cafetaleros, but once again, you never know. After that, on Jornada 4, we'll have Toluca. Be a good game. We'll be playing in Toluca. Toluca, I believe they reinforced themselves with like 9 players, some ridiculous number. And we all know they ended up as a top team last season with 36 points. 11 wins, 3 draws and 3 losses, but they still came up short against Santos. So that's one to watch. Toluca's one to watch. My compadre Toluca fan, so I'll get on the benefit out on this one. I think we'll probably end up maybe struggling to get a draw. We might even come home with a loss. So that'll be likely our first loss of the season. After that, we'll be playing Atlético San Luis once again, the Copa MX. We'll end up beating them. After that one's a real big game. Well, not real big, but it's a big game. It's going to be the rematch against Santos, and they're going to be playing us at home. That's on the 19th of August. Santos has they're going to be rebuilding this year. This will be an easy cake win. We'll beat them by even more than 4 goals this time. So that'll be a good game. It'll be not an easy, but I think Tigres has the quality to beat Santos. And then on the 22nd of August, we'll be playing Veracruz in Veracruz. And when we play in Veracruz, we always have in El Pirata Fuentes, we always have a little bit of trouble. We have enough quality to beat them, but Veracruz, that means when they want to play, they play, and they might do enough to get a draw. So I have us getting a draw against Veracruz. 25th of August, we play Necaxa. Well, actually, let's look at what did Veracruz end up last season? In El Sótano, 16th place, 18 points, 5 wins, 3 draws, 9 losses. But they had an eventful offseason. They also reconstructed a little bit. They kept La Palmera, and Veracruz might give us a draw. And it's an away game, so it'll be a draw against Veracruz. After that, we're gonna end up having Necaxa on the 25th of August at home. Necaxa is a tricky team because they play real cerrado. The stronger, quote unquote stronger teams usually struggle against Necaxa, just like they do against Puebla. But Necaxa they'll be visiting us, so I think we'll get the win there too. Narrow, but we'll get it. Necaxa last season ended up in 11th place with 22 points, 6 wins, 4 draws, 10 losses. 4 wins, 10 draws, 3 losses. And after that, we're going to have on the 1st of September, we're going to go visit Atlas. Atlas last season, they had not great of a season. The 15th place, 18 points, 5 wins, 3 draws, 9 losses. So I think that'll be an easy game. Not easy game, excuse me. I keep using that word easy. Well, we should come back home with the win against Atlas. After that, on the 15th of September, we got Pachuca visiting Tigres. Pachuca is coming off of 9th place last season with 17 points, 6 wins, 5 draws, and 6 losses. I haven't heard much noise coming from Pachuca, so it might be a similar style of play, similar style of team. So I think we have enough quality to beat Pachuca, and after that, that's the big game, 22nd of September. We're going to be visiting, nonetheless, Monterrey, Rayados Monterrey. Last season, Real Monterrey, they finished in 3rd place, 29 points, 8 wins, 5 draws, 4 losses. Very strong team. Didn't have what it took, just like we did. They didn't have what it took. Monterrey is a state of disarray. They just lost Pato Sanchez. Mohamed's gone. It's going to be interesting with Monterrey. They're not going to be as strong as you saw last week against Necaxa. They're not going to be strong. I'm doubtful they even make Liga. Highly doubtful they even make Liga. I think it'll be somewhat of a reconstructing season as well, due to the fact that I don't think they don't have an identity. I don't think they know what they want. I don't think they know where they want to be, or what way, futbolísticamente they want to run the team. So I think it'll be they'll have some growing pains this season. It's a rebuilding year for them. We have enough quality to beat them, but in those clásicos, you never know. It's a toss-up, but of course I have to root for my team. So I think we'll get the narrow victory in our second home stadium, El BBA. After that, we'll be visiting Club Querétaro on 29th September. They'll be visiting us. Querétaro last season finished in 14th place, 18 points, 4 wins, 6 draws, 7 losses. Querétaro, not much noise from them. But we tend to struggle against Querétaro. But I think we have enough for a draw against them. After that, we'll be visiting Club America, 6th of October. America ended up in second place last season, 29 points, 7 wins, 8 draws, 2 losses. Most of their points, or a good chunk of their points, came from draws. America also hasn't made any bombazos. They haven't signed any big-name players. Very similar team to what they're going to field last season. But America's America. I think we'll go in there and get another draw. After that, we got Pumas. Pumas will be visiting us on the 21st of October. Pumas last season finished up in 7th place, total 24 points, 6 wins, 6 draws, and 5 losses. Pumas towards the second half of the season usually starts crumbling, so I think we'll get another victory there. After that, we got Lobos WAP. Lobos WAP has been completely dissected. They're filling basically a brand new team. We'll be playing them on the 20th of October. We'll be visiting them. They should be playing second division right now. You know, they bought basically their way back for a couple $1 million. They don't belong in first division. It's a travesty that we have this situation in our league, but they're there. They'll be giving away points left and right because, as we all know, there's no descenso for, 2 seasons. So there's going to be a lot of teams just straight up not giving a crap. They'll be giving out points. They'll be like, okay, we'll work on it next season. Lowell's WAP is definitely going to be one of those teams. Easy 3 points. After that, on the 2nd of November, we got Morelia. Morelia is also a little tricky. Morelia last season ended up in 8th place with 24 points, 7 wins, 3 draws, 7 losses. Morelia could give us a little bit of a struggle. They'll come home to our home. We'll get the win, possibly a draw, but we'll definitely handle Morelia. After that, we got the Giant Killers. On the 10th of November, we got Puebla. We'll be visiting Puebla. That one, it's going to be tricky as well. They also had a good start of the season last year. Then they started crumbling in the later half. They ended up in 10th place with 23 points, 7 wins, 2 draws, and 8 losses. Puebla will give us a little bit of a struggle in their house. I think we'll come back home with a draw on that one to finish off the season. Jornada 17, 17th jornada, 24th of November. We'll be playing Chivas. They'll be visiting us. Chivas, also up in the air. They lost their coach. They lost a couple players. They ended up in a dismal 17th place last season. They accumulated a total of 15 points, 3 wins, 6 draws, 8 losses. There's no descenso. Vergara's not going to care. They'll be giving out points left and right again. I mean, think about it. They ended up in 17th place when they did care, when there was descenso. Now, if there isn't, how do you think they're going to be? This will be another team that's going to be giving away points left and right. We'll easily golearlos by 4 or 5 goals at home to finish off the season strong right before Liguilla. So what was the final tally? We'll get 1, 2... Well, we'll have enough. We'll have roughly around 30 points. 30. Probably the lower half of 30 points, maybe about 30, 33, 34 points this season. I mean, the team's looking strong. They're talking about bringing in some other players. I'm not sure. Do we really need them? Who knows? Depends on the player. Right now, as of today, Racing dropped another bid for Lucas Zelarayan. I was a big fan of his. Then when he kind of started fading out, I kind of lost hope in him. But this past game against Santos, he looked very sharp. It would hurt the team if he left. Racing is now offering $7.3 million for him. They've been upping it slowly. Tigres was asking for 8. Will they accept it? I don't know. Do we have replacements ready? Yes, we do. Will it hurt the team if he left? Slightly. I mean, I think with or without him, we'll still end up at the top place in the table and a strong candidate for the championship with or without him. So, I mean, if he leaves and that's what he wants, good. If he stays, that's also good. Caught the Mian Despedida this weekend. It was not this weekend, on Tuesday. Magnificent game. Full of nostalgic getting to see Lucas Lobos and Gignac again on the same pitch. Pulido got booed immensely. There was a bunch of cool surprises. Nahuel playing forward was awesome. him running down the field with the same get up he had when we won the championship in December. It was a great show, and it was a just goodbye to one of our newest legends for the club. Damian Alvarez was identified as a Pachuca player, but I think he'll identify more now as a Tigre. He might be like a Walter Gaetan, where he'll permanently stay in the city, or a Claudio Nunez, where they'll permanently stay in the city. The fan base is what makes this team special. It's never really been the players that make the club special. It's always been the fan base, and some players get to be a part of that, and they eventually become part of that fan base towards the later part of their career. And Damian will definitely be one of those. It's gonna suck seeing him, or not seeing him any longer on that bench to replace Aquino. And I think this past season we kind of felt it a little bit when Aquino was tired or couldn't play. We were struggling to find a left mid, but it was a bittersweet moment to see him leave. But it was a great game nonetheless. Hugo Ayala spoke this week, or he spoke to the media. He mentioned how he wants to see Tigres play at a certain with certain regularity all 17 games, and here's a couple of his words.
Iniciamos un nuevo torneo con la ilusión de que inician, yo creo, todos los equipos, de estar en una liguilla, de pensar en un campeonato. Y obviamente tenemos el material y las herramientas necesarias para poder pelear, para estar en los primeros lugares. Pues no tanto así de revancha, pero sí te quedas con una sensación negativa de que no se hizo buen torneo, no se terminó de la manera que uno hubiera deseado, como avanzar más allá de los cuartos de final. Así que tenemos, esa sensación de que este torneo tiene que ser mejor, y tenemos que hacer mejor las cosas. Comprometidos siempre vamos a estar, ¿no? Por la calidad de jugadores que tenemos, por lo que viene desempeñando la institución, el Club Tigres, pues siempre queremos mantenerlos en los primeros lugares, y pues de nuestra parte, normalmente dedicarnos a trabajar, esforzarnos, a tratar de estar bien a la mejor disposición, para que el Tuca también elija al 11 que él crea conveniente. Estar pensando en un campeonato, primero en una posible liguilla, pues tienes que estar bien durante las 17 fechas, no solamente arrancar bien o terminar bien, tratar de tener un torneo regular que te pueda dar para pensar en eso, en estar en los primeros lugares.
I agree, completely agree. There has to be some stability with the club, with the team, the way they play. Sometimes they look strong and then they'll have 2 or 3 games off. That has to end. We have to be at the highest level, completely play each game as if each game is a matter of life and death per se. And I completely agree with him. Tigres has to set the example. They have to step up. They have to satisfy this huge fan base they have now, and they built themselves a name, not just nationally but internationally, and we have to live up to those names. This Tigres ain't the Tigres from before. This Tigres is stable. There's money. There is no reason why Tigres can't be competitive for the next 10, 15, 20 years. There's no reason, and it starts now. We don't want to be a Toluca that had 5-6 years of success and then disappeared. We don't want to be a Celaya. We don't want to be a Toros Neza. We don't want to be who else? Well, a Santos. But Santos is always competitive. They'll disappear for 1 or 2 years and they come back. My respects to Santos. But you guys know what I'm talking about. These teams, there's little eras, I guess you could call them, and we don't want to have a small era. We want to have a big era. And I agree. It starts now. Uyala, likely going to be a Tigre for a long time. And yeah, it starts now, and it starts with regularity. And that's all we have for today. Thank you guys once again. I really, really appreciate it. You guys spending the time to listen to what I have to say. Follow me on Twitter at Juanillo Tigrillo. Any questions, feel free. Once again, I can't thank you enough for taking your time to listen to what I have to say. I'm going to try to keep doing this show a little bit more regularly. Thanks to the few that already subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. You can watch the video format on YouTube. You can get us on SoundCloud. You can listen to it on iTunes. Just subscribe. It'll download automatically. Have yourselves, guys. Have yourself a good week, and we'll come back next week and we'll go over the resume of the game against Leon, and then we'll preview the following week's game. Here's a little song before I leave. Thank you guys. Have a good weekend. Bye.
No bailo turro ni me depilo las cejas. Soy negro de corazón, yo no escucho reggaetón. Te lo dejo para vos, que sos flor de caretón. En la villa vos no entras, no la podés caretear. Pero que facha, mira ese pantalón. Ahora decime, no había para vos. Esa remera, mira que apretada, te hace juego con el tatuaje del montón. Hay gente que no. Soy lo que ves, me encanta el vino, me encanta el fernet. No me cabe el punto y nada de esa gilada, vos ya me conocés. Este récord.